Why, hello, and welcome to another episode of First Chances with Chance. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about using my voice and be using my voice for something good. Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on nowadays, and that I really don't feel like it should be going on. Like, I feel like I need to speak up about it. Especially with like certain things going on in the government and other stuff like that. So, yeah, I this episode is actually inspired by Jennifer Lopez's documentary on HBO. HBO, no, it's on Netflix. And how she spoke up about how there's barely any Spanish representation in the media and in movies and whatnot, and how very little female representation with lead roles and all of that stuff. While she has mainly had supporting roles and all of that, and how she and her family was barely even was grew up in a very poor household in the Bronx and everything. So that really inspired me to really do this episode. So the first time that I actually ever used my voice would have been in high school when the whole Parkland shooting was going on, and how a lot more of the gun violence and everything was going on, and how when the Pulse nightclub got all shot up, and it really I've never really used my voice on any of my platforms really, and I feel like it's time that I do, because it's definitely needed. A lot more people, yeah, don't get me wrong, this podcast has, I've definitely used my voice for the whole sexual assault and harassment episode, the coming out episode, and all of that. A lot of the other episodes I've used my voice, but not in a way where I deal with politics and stuff like that, because I've never really felt like it was needed to be heard from me, because I don't really have that many followers and whatnot. But at the same time, it's needed from everybody. It's not just the celebrities, the influencers. It's more needed from everybody around, and that actually has even at the smallest presence on social media. They need to definitely voice their opinion and show that it's not just the social media stars, the famous TikTokers. Even some of the famous TikTokers aren't even using their voice, which really is a shocker. I get that you're afraid, but at the same time, everybody needs to hear your voice. You're put on this earth for a reason. Use your voice. God, I like to say, I'm not quiet because I was given a mouth to speak. Some of us just don't like using it, like me. I just don't like speaking up about certain things, especially when millions of thousands of people could possibly hear it one day, and then I end up getting backlash. But at the same time, it's not like I need to stop being like afraid of the backlash. I need to be more like open to how everything is like could be taken in a positive light, especially nowadays with so much hate and so much negativity in the world, which I don't really like seeing. Like, yes, I know I say like a lot, and but it's honestly a lot of this is again hard for me to even put together. It really is a tough subject for me to talk about, but at the same time, I know that needs to be talked about. So, the first, I in high school, I wanted to, I like we had a whole like walkout of the whole gun violence and how like guns need to be taken out of schools, or like there needs to be more protection in the schools because these schools are getting shot up and it's happening again. Like, yes, it happens a lot, but it's now being talked about again. Sorry, I'm still trying to recover from a sinus infection. Allergies, allergy season sucks. So in high school, during the whole Parkland shooting, we were protesting against gun violence and how safe like guns needed like gun safety and everything, and how it goes all like gun violence goes all the way back. Well, in schools, it goes all the way back to the Columbine shooting, and how those kids they even made like handmade bombs, which really is like they literally looked up videos. They literally got to school late and brought AK-47s into the school, shot up the school. There's literally videos on YouTube and like other sites where they literally just like have the actual school footage from what happened in the Columbine shooting, which really I feel like like people need to use that as a representation of how bad a lot of this is. Like literally just recently, a elementary school got shot up. I don't know why a lot of it's in Florida, but it is. I don't know if the elementary school recently was in Florida, but I know there was also one in Texas. But a lot of this stuff really needs to just like stop. Like there's literally police don't do anything about it, even if they're warned ahead of time. Like the kid literally shot his grandmother. They went out for lunch. He shot his grandmother and then went to go shoot up an elementary school. Like, who does that? Well, evidently him. But he, yes, was killed, but not, like, they're not always killed. Like, the Parkland shooting, that kid was only expelled from the school not to go back. Well, I think it was the brother that was told not to go back because his brother shot up the school with Parkland. But still, like, the police don't do anything. They just think it's a prank call. Like, y'all need to stop thinking that it's a prank call all the time and just go just to be on the safe side. Like, I get it that you guys are trying to hold your men for something serious, but if it's a shooting, it could honestly be something serious. Like, I don't care if, oh, so-and-so's gonna go and shoot up this school, like, you guys need to stop it. Well, if it sounds like a prank, don't consider it a prank, because this type of stuff really does happen. But I'll be back. We have to take a quick break. I'll be back with more, like, talking about this, and then I have like other topics that I want to talk about during this episode. It's not just all on gun shooting and gun violence. Like, I feel strongly about a lot of other stuff, and from the looks of it, I will not be able to fit a lot of the content that I wanted to in this episode. Just because I have a lot. I have a whole entire list that I curated, and it looks like I might have to do a part two, but that is perfectly fine because that's what I honestly plan about doing with a lot of the topics I talk about on this podcast, whether it be with guests or whatnot. It's just that, like, I really feel strongly about stuff like this, and so yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick break. I will be right back. Wow. Yeah, I just feel like really strongly about this stuff, so I'm sure you guys can hear it in my voice. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick break. I will be right back. And yeah, so I am back. Like, all of, like, even with, like, the cops, I feel like they literally will look at like, certain cops. Not all cops do this, but the whole, like, depending on the area, they'll be like, oh, this is a bad area, this, that, and the other, and then they'll go and see a kid, primarily a kid of color, and see him running, because that's literally what they're, like, some kids are raised is to be afraid of the cops, because they are a child of color, and it's just, like, sad to see the, like, cops targeting them because they're a person of color, and they'll be like, oh, you're running away and there's been a crime, you fit the description, boom, dead. Like, this stuff has to stop with, like, the guns and everything. It's just, like, the kid really didn't do anything. He was just running because that's how he was taught, because he was taught to be afraid of the cops. Like, so he's gonna go and run, try to get away from you. It's not necessarily that they were part of the crime, or that they were the ones that stole from the convenience store, like, a block away or something. Like, it's not always that. Like, just because they're running away does not necessarily mean that you have to shoot them. Like, come on, guys. Like, just because it's the easier way, because the gun reaches farther than you can run, or because it's an easier option, it's not always the easiest option. Maybe they weren't part of it. Just because it fits your description doesn't necessarily mean that it's that person, which really, like, even, like, Hispanic people are targeted because they are not seen as the primary race, which is really stupid because it's 2022. It shouldn't even have happened in, like, 2012. Like, it become more civilized than like, I get it, it's considered, certain areas are considered to be bad areas, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the cops are, well, I mean, not the cops, but that those kids are doing something bad. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're drug dealing. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're stealing from the convenience store. Like, even white people steal. Even white people deal drugs. It's not like everybody does, like, the same crimes that are seen as that the cops target the people of color to be doing more primarily. Just because back in the day that's what it was. Like, white people were still doing it, doesn't necessarily mean anything. Just because the ghetto areas are primarily filled with people of color, it's just what they could really afford because that is like people target them. But those areas are also targeted more because it's considered to be a bad area because that's where more crime is. But everybody is committing crimes. Well, not everybody, but people, even white people, still commit crimes. It like honestly, for me, I see everybody as equal. I don't really see color. I see people and as people. I don't see you as, oh, you're black, you're lower than me. No, like, I feel like cops abuse, like, certain cops, not all, because I have neighbors that don't do this, they will abuse their power even with, like, shopping. Like, people will literally go up to a cop and be like, thank you for your service. And I'm just, like, looking at them like, they didn't fight in the war. Like, just because they're cops doesn't mean that you have to say that. Like, it always like, throws me off. I'm like, huh? I'm looking, literally we'll look for, like, a guy with a veteran's hat. Like, I get that they are fighting to protect us in a way, but at the same time, some of them are not fighting to protect us, they're fighting to protect themselves. And they think with their gun and rather than with their head. Or they'll think with their, they'll be like, oh, I have a family at home that I have to protect, this and the other. When really, it's not always that case. Wow, yeah, I'm really not gonna get into all of the topics. But that's pretty much it for gun violence. I'm sure that there's other stuff that I could talk about, but I really want to go into other details. Like one of my friends, his brother is autistic, and he brought up a good point of how the term retarded isn't really used as much anymore because it's not a safe word because that's how like retarded. Oh, that's literally what the kids that have mental disorders are called. They're called retarded, which is really stupid. Like that shit needs to stop. Like they're not retarded. They're just either mentally challenged and even some of them are smarter than you, like regular people. So give them a break. Like just because they're slower does not necessarily mean that they're retarded. And he brought up how a good fact to me about how some of them, like nowadays, people have started saying instead of saying retarded that things are autistic, which really is like just threw me off. Like I've heard it before but not like prominently. But even that, like things like that, honestly need to stop. Like many people nowadays are being diagnosed with autism, like falsely diagnosed with autism, and it's just like why like not the false well that because a lot of the therapists are trying to make money, but like why are you just gonna go and call like things like retarded and autistic when you could just say that it doesn't make sense or that it's stupid? Like the idea is stupid. I mean, even that isn't a nice. According to my mom, it's not a nice word, but like, dumb. Like, it's nonsensical type of thing. Like all of the use the nicer terminology and all of the unharsh words, and people will be like, not to be like political right now in this, but like people that would have voted for Trump, yes, Trumpies, go ahead and hate me, but a lot of the people that voted for Trump would say, oh, well, y'all are just being, that is stupid. Like, y'all need to stop being so, like, such pussies and deal with it. Like, come on, guys. You're hurt. You're, like, that's literally, like, something that's not something that you should be saying. Like, I get it. Like, it doesn't need to exist, though. Like, those words don't need to exist. Like, autism, calling something autistic is, like, come on, guys. Come up with a better word. Call it, like, that it's not, say something that say it doesn't make sense. Not that it's autistic. Because autistic is an actual mental disorder that is on a spectrum. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that at a leave this at a break. Leave here on a break, and then I will be right back with another topic. Cause yeah, actually not on another topic because that actually leads into another part of autism and people with mental disorders and the discrimination against them. So yeah, we'll be back with that. So now that I'm back, that was pretty long of a break, which should not have happened, but we are back now. So the other day, when I was at work, there was this guy who obviously was autistic. He even had a shirt that said "I am autistic." He literally was walking in and out of Target with a um, with binoculars and everything, and just stopping in the middle of the walkway and looking through his binoculars, and everybody was just giving him weird looks. I'm just like, guys, he's autistic, like, give him a break. They're like, yeah, I know, but still, it's weird. Well, his brain works differently than yours. Well, you might think it's weird, he doesn't, so leave him alone. Like, all of the like, not misconceptions, but like discrimination against like people with mental disorders, it has really been like really gets on my nerves. Like, I literally have grown up with ADHD and always been treated differently because in elementary school I was the kid that would always be taken out of class for speech therapy and this, that, and the other because I didn't pronounce my R's or my S's and my T's properly, and it, like, I literally would get taken out of class like midway through in class, or like I would literally have to miss recess to go and do speech therapy, and I was always seen as, oh, you're weird because you get this, that, and the other, or oh, your mom works at the school, so you get special treatment, this, that, and the other. Like, big deal. Like, I was always treated as the odd one out, and it was probably the worst thing, not the worst thing, but I was also bullied, which also needs to stop. Like, that, like, schools really need to do better with going, well, now that we can transition into this, perfect transition. Um, I literally was bullied, and like nowadays, like schools are like, oh, we're anti-bullying this, anti-bullying that, but a lot of kids are afraid to speak up against bullying because they're afraid that if they do, their bully, like they're gonna have repercussions from the bully, which is like that misconception, or like the thought of, oh, I'm gonna get retaliate, like they're gonna retaliate, like even worse, they're gonna hurt me, this and the other. Like nowadays, bullying is even worse than it was back when I was in school. Which really, it needs to stop. Like schools really need to do better. The guidance counselor needs to, the guidance counselors need, like, I know it's not just the guidance counselors, it's everybody that works at the school. Like they need to look out more for this type of stuff. Like, yeah, what it happened in the bathroom, like one time I went into the bathroom and saw writing on the bathroom stall of a threat to one of my friends, and I reported it to the teacher, who reported it to the principal and all of them, and all they did was scrub it off the wall. Like it literally looked like they used bleach and cleaned it off the bathroom stall, and that was it. Like the kid was still getting threats and everything just because he hurt somebody. Like he has a mental disorder, like leave him alone type of thing. Like I get he did something wrong, like just tell somebody and have them speak to him, not go around threatening him and saying that you're going to kill him, because by killing him you're not going to solve anything. You're just going to feel bad at the end, like, yeah, oh, you killed him, this and the other. But that type of stuff should not be happening. Like you shouldn't be threatening somebody's life and saying that you're going to kill them, because it's not appropriate, and it really just needs to stop. Um, like schools really, like the school system, even like at work, like jobs need to do better with bullying, and like they need, like HR needs to be more like open about letting people speak. Like, yeah, they're not counselors, whatever, this and the other, but like they need to be more open about what their employees can tell them, because there are bullies in the workplace. Like even managers will can't, like, have been known to bully, not saying at my job, but managers have been known to bully or like blackmail their employees into doing something that they want them to do. Like maybe that employee doesn't feel comfortable doing that. Like this will be an example from my job, yes. um there's times that I just don't feel comfortable cleaning like the women's bathroom when I was at Duffy's, and they still, like, they're like, oh, well, you're the host, you're the to-go host, this and the other, you're the busser, so that's your job to fill the all both of the bathrooms, this and the other. But at the same time, I'm not female. While back when I was at Duffy's, yes, I was gay, but I was not female just because I there were times that I didn't feel comfortable cleaning the women's bathroom. Like I prefer to use the female bath, not female, but the family bathroom, just because like the I feel uncomfortable sometimes using the men's bathroom, and it's just weird. Plus, the men's bathroom is disgusting. Don't get me wrong, the family bathrooms are sometimes disgusting too, but like bullying really needs to stop. And there's like certain things that a manager will say that can come across as bullying, and it's at any job. It just really depends on where you work and how much the manager respects their employees in order to not discriminate, and not, because discrimination on all fields is bullying. Not bullying per se like what you experience at school, but it is still like picking on, it's discrimination at its finest is bullying. Not saying that bullying is okay, because it definitely is not, but let's go ahead and take a break, and then I will be back with a topic that I feel very like, while I do not pertain to this topic, I am very I feel very strongly about this topic, and it may just be the last topic that I talk about, because I plan on diving in deep. And if not, then it might as well be cutting it close, because it's probably going to be over. It's either one of two topics that I talk about. One, and then just be going into the other topics. Well, there's a bunch of topics that I have on my list on my phone that really cut home to me, but there's certain ones that really need to be talked about. While some of them have been discussed by other people, I don't know. There's definitely some that I really pertain to. I don't know. I will decide which topic or topics to talk about when I get back. So one of the two topics that I'm going to be talking about now is the agenda. What I like to say is the gay agenda during Pride Month for corporate companies, because they will literally mass produce Pride collections just for that cash grab, because all they care about is the money, especially with corporate America. These companies make enough money already. They literally make almost $1 million a day in just one store. I mean, not just one store, but all stores combined. Well, they're probably making more than that. I literally am surprised that Target's logo, they didn't change half of their logo to a rainbow for the Pride like for Pride Month because, and then like they didn't even do anything for Autism Awareness Month. Like, hello, that's how you know that they're trying to make like a cash grab from like Pride Month because all of these Pride parades and everybody's looking for outfits for Pride Month. Who the heck is gonna wear a rainbow tux to Pride Month? Not me. Maybe your basic average, like, oh, I'm trying to fit in, I'm so cool, like, I just came out, this, and the other, or, like, it's literally block stripes all the way around. Like, I'm not gonna wear something like that. If anything, I'm gonna wear, like, yeah, maybe back when I first, whatever, was looking for Pride outfits. No. Actually, I would have wanted that bedazzled. I'm not basic. And that's that's basic. Maybe for like an ally, maybe they'd wear it, but that it like maybe I'd wear the top, not the bottom, or vice versa. Like I'd rather wear the boa, like a rainbow block boa, because at least it's feathers. So some of the feathers are overlapping, but back to corporate America, like they're trying to do like a cash grab. Like Target came out with all of these Pride, this whole Pride collection this month. Yeah, started putting it out last month, and then they added some little vinyls like Demi Lovato. Like, yes, I bought Demi Lovato's album for Artist Starting Over because her album really did help me with the whole like non-binary, like coming out as non-binary and becoming more spiritual. Like her part of making me, having me become more spiritual, led into me discovering me being non-binary, and it also really helped me discover that I'm pan. So yeah, which really was just recently, like a couple months ago, maybe like last month, I want to say. So yeah, it's definitely helped, but the whole like putting out all like rainbow stuff, like put out other collections like for each category if you're gonna do that, like the trans flag, the non-binary flag, not just the gay flag because it's Pride Month. And like what are like the other people gonna wear? Yeah, there were trans flag inspired socks, but that's it. Well, the rainbow is on all of the other stuff. Like, come on. Corporate America literally is trying to take over Pride Month and market off of Pride Month and how they are inclusive, when if you're inclusive, then train your employees to be inclusive as well, because not all employees are going to be inclusive. I mean, yes, different people have different beliefs, but if you are trying to be inclusive, then have like at least like even an interview question, like what do you, I mean, yeah, they're just gonna be like tell the manager or the hiring manager or the interviewer that what they want to hear, and then be like discriminatory in the workplace, which really has to stop. Discrimination has to stop. Like, we're all trying to live in America. We're all trying to live, well, not all of us are in America. Some of us are in other countries, and like discrimination like this has to, like, across the board, not just in like the gay like pride and all that. Discrimination across the board really has to stop. Like, yes, it is a mindset that some of us are given because that's just how we are, some of us are raised. Like, yes, I might have been raised with discrimination, but I've met so many wonderful people that would have been, oh, like, the way that I was raised would have been discriminatory, like, discriminated against. But I've met so many wonderful people across the board with that, that, like, the mindset that I was raised with, like, to have is not the right mindset to have with these people. Like I said before, I really don't see color. I just see people as people because that's just how I've learned to be. I really am like a lovable, like, I love people. Like, my coworkers, like, we constantly tell each, like, certain people, we tell each other, love you, this and the other. Like, it's not just, oh, this type of thing. It's more of how I feel. Like, I love you. It's just a thing that we say back and forth between each other, especially like close friends, friends in general. Like, we all say love you because we really do mean it. But corporate America and their tactics to sell the pride collections and all of this, that, and the other, the rainbows and all of that, and then try, like, literally afterwards, they will just stop selling anything rainbow. Like, if you're gonna be inclusive, sell that stuff all year round. Like, I know Macy's has certain stuff with rainbows and all that, and that they sell all year round. And Macy's has been known to, yes, be very inclusive, mind you. With Target, they'll literally take that stuff off the shelves, discount it, whatever, just to get it off the shelves and bring in new stuff. Like, once a collection's gone, they'll be like, oh, the. Or once Pride Month is gone, they'll literally take all of the Pride stuff down and just not sell any more rainbows, like, for adults. For kids, that's a different story, because all kids love like bright colors, this and the other, which really has me perturbed. Not the whole kids part, but, like, if you're gonna sell all year round, show that you're inclusive all year round. These corporate companies need to really show that they're inclusive all year round in order to have then other people, like, they'll be literally put out the pride stuff for a month just to show that they're inclusive, to try to get that target audience to keep coming back. Like, I get it. I get the whole market, whatever. But in all honesty, you really need to be selling all year round, like that type of stuff. But let's go ahead and take a break. When I come back, I'm definitely going to have dive in to another topic for a little bit. That definitely really does hit and really dive in to stuff that some people might not agree with me on, because it is a very touchy subject, and it deals with Trump. For those who are listening, it deals with Trump and how he might have been trying to build the wall. But that's neither here nor there because we're taking a break. So, like I said, Trump. So I don't know if you guys remember. Obviously, you guys do. Trump. Well, those of you in America that are listening would remember, along with some other countries, not all, but many countries. Some countries would have heard the news, not all. So let me tell you, Trump was trying to build a wall between Mexico and the U.S. to keep immigrants out because they're bringing drugs and diseases into America. Honey, drugs and diseases are already in America. There's nothing you could do to stop them. So shut the fuck up and sit back. Well, on that. But don't sit back on gun violence because that shit, yeah, like you're gonna focus more on immigration and not worry about all of this stuff going on in the U.S. and how there's schools getting shut up. Like, yeah, I'm back on that topic as well because that is something that I'm going to intertwine with this topic. Let me drink my water. And yeah, lubricate the throat. I don't know how it goes from Pose. I was trying to do the Pose thing, but I don't remember how it went, so I can't really make that reference. But it is 1:09, so yeah, we gotta bring this together. But not rush this topic, because immigration is a strong topic. If you guys have watched why do I keep saying Jennifer Lawrence? Jennifer Lopez's documentary on Netflix, she brings up how many like with immigration, those parents are being split up from their kids, which is really stupid. Like, why are you gonna split up your a parent from their kids? Like, we're all technically immigrants, even no matter which way you want to look at it. So I am on my mom's side French, Italian, Native American. Dad's side Russian, Polish, German, Irish. Back in the day when America was first becoming America, the Germans, the Irish, and all of them came over on boat and to find better living. Instead, we are all part of a nation that it was built on immigration. Like, why are you going to go ahead and discriminate against the immigrants coming over from Mexico and Cuba and all of them? All they're trying to do is do the same thing that America was built on, is find a better living style and give their kids better education. I've met multiple people whose parents literally came over from South America just so that their kids, or Central America, just so that their kids can have a better education, have a better way of life than what they grew up on or what they were living off of. All of this stuff that's going on really, like, the discrimination, like, oh, you're, like what my mom says, they're living off of, they're bringing their kids over and their kids are living off of free and reduced lunch, this and the other. Like, I get it. But right now, with COVID still going on and into next year for the kids, they're all getting free and like free lunches and free breakfast. Free breakfast was always going on when I was in school, so that's neither here nor there. But like, now you're not complaining because that's what the government's making you do. But when it was just the immigrants and all of them that were coming over, you were complaining because they're they were literally getting it and they didn't do anything. They needed to stay over there, this and the other. Like, shut up. They're literally coming over for a better life. Like, you literally used to live out of your mom's car at one point. You literally used to live off of food stamps at one point. So that's, maybe that's all they're doing. You literally left your family for a possible better life, for to follow your love to another state after you graduated. So you need to look at it from their perspective and see that they're coming over for a better life. Your ancestors, your past family came over for a better life. Like, why can't you see it through their perspective? Like, this type of stuff really perturbs me, and it really gets me heated because not many people want to look at it through their perspective. Many of, like, a lot of Floridians are that came over through, like, on boat and everything. Like, yeah, they might not have the proper documentation, whatever, but their main goal was to escape possible, maybe even escape, like, the government through like where they live, because that living lifestyle isn't always like the best. Like, yeah, it's not always the best here or whatever, but it's better than what they had. The education probably is a lot better than what they had. It's definitely something that, like the government focuses on that, but yet they're not going to focus on gun violence in schools. They're just going to sweep it under the rug like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, they should have done something about it when the whole, like, Columbine shooting, even with Parkland, like, that was the second biggest shooting in schools. They should have done something back then. Like, I was literally afraid to even go to school when that happened, because one of my school, like, my high school literally got, like, a message saying, you're next, so and so, like, so on and so forth. Like, why is the government gonna focus on keeping them out when we're literally built on immigration? Like, I get it. The living expenses are going up, but there's so many jobs that they literally that are literally open. Nobody's wanting to take them. Let them work it. Like, anybody can become an American, but, well, at least that's what's said, but that's not what's happening. Like, the people in Ukraine and Russia that are trying to come over aren't even being allowed in anymore because they are, like, immigration is takes forever to even process your papers, first of all. When you do try coming over legally, and it takes forever. The discrimination that's given to them is not the proper, like, isn't proper. Like, sweetie, we're all built on, like, America's built on immigration. It's built on immigrants. It's gonna stay that way, whether you like it or not. Because that's how we, society, like, everybody that comes over is said to be welcome, but are they? Not all the time. There's definitely a lot of discrimination with them because of the way that the government makes us feel towards them. Like, they make us feel like, oh, they don't belong here, this and the other. Like, I feel like white supremacy is still a thing because the government likes to depict the white people or show the white people more than they do people of color, which really just goes to show how the government still works and how nothing particularly has changed. Like, yes, there's been people like black people in office. Black people, Barack Obama was a president, but they put so much stress and everything, and they really will look down on the people of color. It's like stupid. But let's go ahead and take a break and then possibly do a small topic and then do the outro, because this is a long episode of me speaking my mind and might have some backlash, but I don't care because I'm speaking my mind, my beliefs, and you're not going to change that. So for the last topic, something that I have debated with my family for years now, and how, like, a long debate that has gone on for years through society, whether it be in the US or elsewhere, is that trans women are women. Whether you see it that way or not, like, my mom's point is that if you're a guy pretending to be a girl, just because, then you should not be allowed to use the women's bathroom. But if you're being your authentic self and that's how you truly feel, then more the power to you. Yes, would be a little weird, I guess, for an actual guy that identifies as a guy to go into the women's bathroom saying, oh, I'm a woman, like, as a joke. Like, when that whole thing with the bathroom situation was going on, there was a bunch of jokes about it and everything, and how, like, men were truly making fun of it, which, discrimination and all that. It really, like, it really depends on the person, I guess, and their beliefs. But I believe that a person, if you truly identify, like, yes, you might not have had the bottom surgery yet. Maybe you don't even want to have the bottom surgery. Like, you feel comfortable. Like, maybe bottom surgery is too expensive for you. It's definitely, I know, is very expensive, and it does hurt down there after a while, but that's because you just had surgery and your body still has to heal. But I still believe that they are women and that they still deserve the same rights and everything Um, and vice versa, trans men are still men. Whether you want to accept it or not, they are still men. They have a lot of them. Like for me, I like being non-binary. I feel both female energy and male energy. Whether they want to be like fight, that's when the body dysmorphia happens. A lot of them have, a lot of the trans people have body dysmorphia, and it affects everybody differently. Whether it wants to kick up when you're at your lowest, it can even kick up when you're at your highest, and then it just is a downfall from there. It's really, and like that with them, it's even worse because they see their body and they look at it and they're like, this isn't the right body that I was supposed to have, this, then the other. It, like, the discrimination against trans people, it has gone on for however long. It's been going on forever. But yeah, this is it for this episode. I am cutting it here, and if you guys have any stories or beliefs that you want to put in, besides calling me stupid for doing this, text 561-320-7085. Well, text or leave a voicemail to 561-320-7085. You could always DM First Chances with Chance on Instagram, or you could always comment down below if you guys are watching the video portion. Again, text or leave a voicemail to 561-320-7085. DM First Chances with Chance on Instagram, or even if you guys are watching the video portion, text or comment down below. And always, guys, always voice your opinions in matters that are current, like gun violence and stuff like that. But if it's a opinion that should not be said, then keep it to yourself. But yeah, love you guys. Bye.